is modern digital banking for the culture. So with the goal to convert income into generational wealth, and we're doing that by increasing the circulation of the dollar with members within our community by donating funds received through our Greenwood Roundup programs to organizations like Gooder to feed and educate families. And last but not least, our banking services, whether it be loans, full service banking, or even investing. We're doing this for the Black and Brown community, but also our allies. And here at Greenwood, I actually sit as the director of product at Greenwood.
Oh, did we misspeak?
It's okay. No.
Everybody should be the head of something. You're the head of, you're head of product. Yeah.
Right.
No, so that's really interesting. And I know we've written about Greenwood a little bit, and I'm excited to drill down a little bit on your background as well as what you're planning on doing with Greenwood. So why don't you talk about yourself a little bit and your start in the product space?
Okay, so I got started in the product space. Well, actually, I'll tell you the longer story, I guess. So during my junior year in college, I started my first tech company with some of my buddies. Wow. It was an amazing ride. Right, we went to YC Summer 16. If you're not familiar with YC, that's Y Combinator. And we grew that platform to 1 million users, over 1 million users. It was exciting. And it was during that time that I realized I didn't want to sit behind a computer. I didn't want to be pushing out code, but rather I wanted a deeper impact with the customer. So I fell in love with the psychology behind that, giving customers exactly what they needed. And since that moment, I have yet to turn back, honestly.
That's awesome. And was the YC company, was that in the financial space or something totally different?
No, it was actually in fashion. So what we used to do was we would tag what your favorite celebrity and influencer was wearing, and we would show you exactly where to find it. So like one beautiful example that we had, Scott Disick was wearing a jacket, and a photographer took a picture. So we had thousands of photographers all over the world. They took a picture, they sent it to us, we put it on the platform, and that jacket sold out in less than an hour. Right. So that was the type of traction we were able to have on our platform. It was exciting.
Power of contextual commerce. That's amazing.
Definitely.
So why join a financial services company? Why join Greenwood?
Yeah, well, one, I'm still an entrepreneur at heart. But I have two main reasons, right? And the first is my upbringing. I came from a world where I had the privilege of owning a bank account at a very young age, but many of my friends and classmates did not. Not just that, I knew nothing of financial literacy, in Orangeburg, South Carolina. It was never taught. For us, we were always told, don't go spend all your money. You're going to need it one day. But I never truly understood how to make my money grow. I didn't understand what owning assets meant and how those assets could appreciate in value over time. So when I got out into the world, I was lost and I made a multitude of financial mistakes, mistakes that I don't want anyone else to have to ever make. And for me, Greenwood was that opportunity to institute that change using the skills that I've learned during my entrepreneurial journey. And then from there, I look at Paul and Ryan, who are the founders of Greenwood, as mentors and masters of their craft. I'd worked with Paul and learned from Paul since college when I first started my startup. And then I met Ryan along the way. But, one thing about the both of them, they're both diligent at what they do. So I knew that I could trust them to solve this issue of the racial wealth gap, and I knew it was in good hands. So those were my two reasons as to why I truly joined Greenwood.
Awesome. And so it sounds also like your own personal ethos of wanting to better the community that sort of permeates the company, it sounds like.
Exactly. That is something that permeates through each and every person that's at the company.
I think we hear that a lot from other founders and other people within banking. Even these are the newer players, I think. Somebody actually might be from Orangeburg. One second. We have a comment from one of the attendees, Joshua Norris. Oh wow, you're from Orangeburg. I grew up in rural South Carolina in Charleston.
Nice.
I just much more interested in your work with Greenwood. Equality of financial access is a big issue in those areas.
Yeah. See, it's very real in South Carolina, not just Orangeburg, but Columbia, Anderson, all over South Carolina, the South, the nation. It's real for us, and we weren't taught these things growing up. And I'm happy that our generation is able to fix that because I feel like we're actually at that cross between the older generation and the younger generation. So if we play our cards right, we can get it right.
I agree with you about the generational gap too. That it takes some younger blood to do it. So tell us more about Greenwood's focus on the Black and Brown communities.
For sure. So, Greenwood community is inclusive of everybody. I want to make sure I start with that.
Right. I noticed that also, like your talk, it called it community, which felt very inclusive, actually, the terminology.
Yeah. So it's not just the Black and Brown communities, but, it's also our allies. And it's good to understand, though, that, just who the underbanked are, though, right? Like when we talk about the underbanked, who are they and what are those needs? So Black and Latino households, they make up like 32% of the US population, yet they represent 64% of the country's underbanked household, right? And what we understand is that these communities need a place to put their money. They need fair access to bank accounts with easy access to those funds, whether it's via a debit card or a virtual card. And they also need access to interest building savings accounts, right? But the thing is, usually the conversation is always around the disadvantaged when it comes to the Black and Brown communities, and it does not account for the 40% of the Black and Brown community members that are in the middle class sectors that actually have jobs, but they just have access problems, right? So for us, we've learned that over 30 million adults are forgotten and are assumed to be underbanked or unbanked, but rather they have jobs and they just need advice for investing their money to build wealth. So we want to be able to provide access to those resources and those tools to ensure our communities are not left behind. And we'll do this like with a mix of like cool and fun blended with modern financial solutions today.
Awesome. So one of the things I've noticed also in the evolution of financial services, like traditional banks had products designed for specific communities or specific professions, but it's typically one product among many. And what we're finding with challenger banks is you can go really deep to servicing a particular demographic or a particular need. Can you talk about how that? I'm curious about Greenwood's product and some of the key features and what gets you excited about it.
Yeah. So, what gets me excited about product at Greenwood is the fact. So I kind of look at product like this, right? Product, you've visited an airport before, right?
Yeah.
At one point in time in your life.
Yeah. Unfortunately, not LaGuardia, but yeah.
Okay. Not LaGuardia. Okay. But when you get there, you see so many varieties of people going to and from their predetermined destinations, right? And whether it's the airport staff that's piloting or servicing the planes or the customers themselves hopping on a flight a flight that they trust to get them to their right destination safely, that's how I view product. And that's how I view product here at Greenwood. Members are coming to our platform because they know we can get them to their destinations that they need. They determine the direction of our product. We facilitate the experience. We make sure that they're comfortable and we provide them with everything that they need. And as a product leader, I'm in the control tower or on the tarmac, the lights, making sure the future and the direction of our product is heading down the right path, while the other leaders in the organizations are charged with making sure that we get them there safely. So, that's our approach to developing products here at Greenwood. And the focus is on the need of our members and to ensure that we're delighting them along the way. And what gets me excited is like whether it's our virtual cards or our physical cards or our interest yielding savings accounts or our 10K small business grants monthly that we give away to our members. And we've actually done one already, actually in Tulsa. Or down the road, when it comes to like investing or ETFs or stock or crypto, we would be able to get our members to their financial destinations. And we'll continue to expand over time to make sure that we're giving them exactly what they need.
So how did you determine what products and services were important for your community?
I mean, you have to read the market, understand, talk to your customers. I mean, that's the essence of product, right? You need to talk to your customers, see what your customers need. Not really customers, but members. Talk to your members, see what your members need, listen to them and help and really allow them to help you build the product.
So what did you hear from them? Like, what were some of the things as part of that customer development, those discussions? Like, what were you hearing were important?
Access. I think that was the biggest thing. It's like, hey, how can we get access? How can we get a solution that we trust? How can we get a solution that provides us access, provides us those interest yielding savings accounts, that gives us access to investing and all these other different tools? Everybody just wanted access. So again, underbanked access. those that are in the middle class, they're saying like, hey, like, how can we grow our wealth? Right. And then for us, it's like, how can we take those underbanked from just having access to growing their wealth as well?
All right. You talked about the founders by first name. I'm curious to know who are they? I happen to know personally, but I'd be curious for you to explain who they are, and to talk about in general the team that comprises Greenwood. Like, tell us about the atmosphere, and who these people are. Yeah,
for sure. So one thing I would say about our team I would say is our superpower. It's our intergenerationality. Right. So from old to young, we have it all. So apart from Paul Judge, Ryan Glover, Killer Mike, and Andrew Young, who are all titans within the space of technology, media, and social justice, we have a number of different movers and shakers that have blazed their own paths within finance and technology. So, just to include a few, so we have our VP of Engineering, Delani, and then we have our Chief Compliance Officer, Lynn Sherry. Both of those were actually honored as FinTech Report's top 20 women in FinTech in both 2020. And that's just to name a few. But what I love most is this intergenerationality. Everyone has skin in the game. And based upon our own experiences, not everyone is a banker. We span from Generation Z to boomers, but we all have great ideas. And we all have, skin in the game in order to build a better tomorrow for our community members.
Yeah, I think that's something I haven't heard that from a lot of other companies about intergenerationality. I think typically companies' products and people resemble the people that they're serving and the people behind them. So, exactly. How does that work out socially internally? It's not something that I've encountered. Like, it sounds like you're all on board. The mission is what permeates everything, but like,
yeah.
There's mentoring. Is there like, how does that intergenerationality play out, I guess, on a day-to-day?
It's honestly, it's beautiful, right? And there's a lot of
it should be, Yeah,
it truly is. Like, there's a lot of respect that is given across both sides of the line. And, one thing that we try to talk about all the time is like, drop the titles. We're all in this together, right? So again, like you might have said, oh, I had a product, but it's like, head, director, drop the title. Like, I'm product, you're compliance, we're a team, we're Greenwood. Like, how are we going to solve this problem together? So I think by removing titles and understanding that we all have a piece of this problem within us, it helps us like move fast, right? And blaze a path together to solve a generational issue.
So where are you in sort of the rollout of the products and services and the launch? And like, can you give us a feel for the maturity of the business? Where are you along the spectrum?
For sure. So currently we're in beta, right? So that means people are actively using the application. They're actively using the card. And then from there, we're going to continue to roll more and more people off of our wait list. So I'm really excited about our wait list because we have over 600,000 people on our wait list. Wow. So, for us, one thing that we believe that because this is a generational issue, we have to get it right. Mm-hmm. So we will take our time to make sure that it is right. So once we launch to GA, we are serving our members exactly as they need to be served.
So one of the topics that we've heard from a variety of our speakers today, Chidiebere, is this sort of particularly in product between building, if you have an advantage in terms of building, or working with best of breed outside the company. How do you determine whether to build something or to partner? Like, what's your formula? Like, what's your process, I guess?
I think the best process for us is like, who does it the best, right? If your focus is the customer, if your focus is the member, then you kind of get away from the idea of like, oh, we need to build it first before that guy. And more so, you're like, hey, look, we need to get this product to this customer or this member now, right? And the best way for us to do that is to partner with the right person because, again, maybe they don't know them. And we have a really strong acquisition funnel. So that means we have the people. So let's get the people to the right place and make sure that they understand that Greenwood will always get them what they need. Again, remember what I told you before, we're here to get you to the destination. We're not here to build, like we're not here to build the plane or whatever and say like this is the best airport in the world. Well, Greenwood is the best destination in the world. Don't get me wrong, but again, it's more so about the member, right? How do we get the member to their destination? And the way to do that is by partnering with the right people, and we make those decisions as a team. So again, like I said, intergenerationality, we're able to pull from each other and make the right decisions along the way.
Can you tell us a little bit more about, I guess, the incentive and rewards platform? You talked about some of the money going back towards the community. Can you describe, I guess, the system?
Yeah, for sure. So, every single time a member swipes their card, we give. Every single time. So whether it's with Gooder or UNCF or any of our other causes that we've partnered with, that money goes back into our community. And that is what differentiates Greenwood from any other institution, because it's easy to say like, hey, like, why don't I just stay with my current bank? But our business model is geared towards funneling money back into our communities. And we're very transparent about that. So for us, again, it's making sure the money gets back into the community every single time you swipe your card through our Roundup program. And then also for our wait list, we want to be able to feed families. So every single time you refer a friend on the wait list, you're able to feed a family as well. So we've partnered with the right people in order to make sure the right people are being fed, educated, and just educated across the board.
That's actually a good segue to my next question. Education, and what role does that play within the platform? Are you building out your own education, financial services? Are you working with partners? What role does education play?
That's a good question, actually. So one thing about Greenwood is not just, a finance application, right? Greenwood is more than that. We actually have content and a very strong community around that content. So from Money Moves, where we partnered with iHeart, or for Earn Your Leisure, the partnership that we have with Earn Your Leisure for our podcast and our IG. If you go to that location, you'll see that we are very, very active and we are constantly posting content continuously because, again, it starts with being able to educate the masses. So again, Greenwood is a makeup of, yes, our application, but also the content that we're serving on a daily basis. And the beautiful thing is we've learned where that sweet spot is, where it's a mix of like entertainment with finance and giving you exactly what you want and love from a content perspective.
Wow. And in terms of acquisition, you talk about you have a 600,000 person wait list, which is amazing. How are you going out and acquiring new customers, or are you just focused on working through that wait list until you get to GA?
Yeah, right now we are really focused on making sure that we give all of our members exactly what they need. Mm-hmm. Now, I won't tell you not to go to the wait list now and sign up on the wait list because, again, like we're trying to solve a generational issue. So, if you're not on the wait list, please go to our website, bankgreenwood.com, and sign up on the wait list. Be a part of a change. Join our community. Like, take part in the content. Like, listen to Money Moves. Listen to the podcast. Sign up on the wait list. And then from there, spread the good news, because we're only going to be able to create this change together. We can't do it by ourselves.
Love that. Question from the audience from Link. Is the underbanked, in your opinion, is the underbanked considered a new niche for the industry? And if not, how does Greenwood manage positioning against other banks, like sort of saying that they service that community as well?
Yeah. So is it a new niche? I don't think it's a new niche. It's something that's been here for a very, very long time. But we've been able to tap into the hearts of the underbanked to help them know that whatever they need is going to be here at Greenwood. And I don't think we're fighting against the big banks. I mean, if you notice, like some of the biggest banks were the ones that invested in Greenwood because they believe in our mission. I think for us, again, it's like getting the right products in front of our underbanked and making sure that we're educating them and helping them build generational wealth over time. So I don't look at it as more so a fight, but more so us all working together to solve an issue that we couldn't solve on our own, right? So, yeah.
Great. And Chidiebere, you mentioned a few times this word mission. I'm curious, what resonates with you the most about the mission?
Going back to my life, right? Not having that understanding of how to build wealth. I think in today's generation, a lot more people are starting to become aware of what financial literacy is. You know, a lot more people are starting to become aware of, okay, I need my money to grow for me, but it's like, how can that money grow for me? Like, what avenues do I have? And who's going to make or create that path that's like seamless and easy for me? So I think that's what excites me the most in regards to the mission, and then also recirculating that dollar within our community. I think the dollar recirculates in about 6 hours in our community, and we have to change that. We have to change that, and I think we'll be able to do that. Well, we will be able to do that through Greenwood.
Amazing. Yeah, you're getting great feedback, very inspirational, great answers. What's next for the product roadmap? Like what do you have that you're working on coming up the rest of 2021, 2022? What should we be looking for?
You know, I think what's most important is to focus on what's in front of us. And focusing on what's in front of us is getting through beta, getting this application into our waitlist users' hands. And then from there, rolling into GA. And then from there, like, as you'll see more interesting and exciting products along the way. And we've mentioned some, like down the road, we've talked about investing in ETFs, crypto. So we've mentioned some that will show up in our roadmap. But most importantly is focusing on what's in front of us. And what's in front of us is getting this application into our waitlist users' hands, but also expanding our content, making sure our content is growing, making sure everyone has access to that content. And if we aren't educating them on the right things, like, let us know, like, what else do you want to hear about, so that we can evaluate and grow and continue to grow together.
Awesome. I just want to come full circle, come back to one of our original questions. Mm-hmm. You talked about being an entrepreneur at heart and starting with that fashion app, fashion commerce app. Yep. Banking, financial services is very different, I would assume. I guess, what was surprising to you moving from that one industry and into this industry in terms of running product?
Regulators. It's like,
and there are quite a few of them on the call, by the way. So.
Definitely regulators. When you're doing fashion, it's like, yeah, let's just throw it out there and see what happens. Regulators are like, no. There's so many checks and balances, and you have to do it right. I mean, the banking system has been around for a very, very long time. So you have to make sure you're doing everything correctly. So I actually love the process. And I love the fact that we have Lynn, our chief compliance officer, because she's on top of it. She's really on top of it. And it teaches you how to sometimes slow down and make sure like you're doing something right and not just throw it out there to see like what happens. You can still do that. But there's still parameters around how you do it. So I would say regulators were very different, but then also it was a lot to learn. But because of my experience going to YC and just being an entrepreneur, like I was able to pick that part up pretty quickly. But the regulators it was a definite change on that front.
I hear that.
Yeah.
It's been great speaking to you. Really enjoyed the talk. Really excited for Greenwood's launch and wish you the best of luck. Thanks for joining us at the Big Bang Theory Conference.
Thank you so much. Have a good one.